All right. So I'm here with my dad, Tom Goynes, and I wanted to test the system and also ask him about how the first, now it's called some people call it the Great Texas River Cleanup, but the San Marcos River Cleanup that's typically the first Saturday in March every year, how it came to be, what prompted him to start that, and when it started.
All right. Well, Paul and I moved to San Marcos in the summer of 1972, and it was that fall when we decided the river needed a cleanup. So the very first cleanup was actually in the fall of 72, and based on that, we're calling this year's lower river cleanup from San Marcos down, hopefully all the way to Gonzales. We're calling it the 54th annual. I think we did the math correct, starting in 72. But it was also the first cleanup done by the San Marcos Canoe Club. We actually formed a club when we first moved here.
Was it? Oh, so it wasn't just specifically for... How long had the club been in existence before the cleanup started?
No, we formed the club
specifically
that fall.
For that.
We kind of, I came out of the Houston Canoe Club, so I had a history of having a club around.
Were you the president of the Houston Canoe Club or the Commodore before you came here?
No, I think I might have made it. I was on the board, but I don't think I ever got elected vice commodore even. I think Joe Bowen beat me out.
Oh, okay.
We had a head-to-head runoff, and Joe took me down. But anyway, I was on that, a board of directors or something. I was served on that.
Oh, okay.
But when we moved here, we set up the San Marcos Canoe Club, which was in existence for a few years in the 70s. Might have made it to 1980, I don't know, but it became a lot of work. I found out that clubs can be a hassle. But anyway, that was our very first cleanup, and we moved it to March and started holding it pretty much every year, the first Saturday in March, probably starting in 73. And
okay, so you basically did two cleanups. You found out that usually the fall has more foliage than March. Is that kind of the impetus for?
Well, I guess I don't think there had ever been a river cleanup when we first moved here. So in the photos I've got of that first cleanup, I was picking a commode right around Thompson's Island, I think on the downstream side. So there was still flood debris from all the previous floods. So we found plenty of trash. And, bed springs, commodes, you name it. It was a major cleanup. It wasn't very long. I don't remember how far down the river we went. But then probably starting in the spring of 73, we would at least cover, down to Pecan Park where we were located. It wasn't too long before we would make it to Staples, and then we kept adding bridge after bridge.
How many people were involved in the first ones?
Not many in the first ones, no. We'd probably have maybe 20 people. But the Sesquicentennial Project, which was in 1986, I was contacted by the Sesquicentennial Committee. I think that was a group in San Marcos, and they wanted to know if I would do something special. I said, well, what about a cleanup all the way to the coast?
Oh, wow.
So in 1986, we held, and I actually coined the name, and I called it the Great Texas River Cleanup. And we had probably 300 plus volunteers.
Is that mainly from the school, or did a lot of the city?
No. This was 300, including Houston Canoe Club, Dallas Downriver, the canoe racers. There was a scout troop in Seadrift. Darren C. was involved. and his group cleaned from Tyboli, or Tybola as they pronounce it, to Seadrift. So they
Wow.
they had motorboats and they cleaned around the bay on the banks, and so it was a major event.
Wow.
We had I know we paid for a little party in Seadrift for that scout troop. There was a group in Victoria, and I know they ate. I think Red Motley was with that group, and they ate something somewhere in Victoria. They had a party, and then we had the big barbecue here in San Marcos. For
Oh, wow. So that all took place on a Saturday.
One day event.
Wow.
I think I had one boat that paddled from Gonzales to Ojai, so we weren't getting any refrigerators on that section. But it seems like when we got down around Victoria, Red had quite a few volunteers, maybe from work, I don't really remember. But we did get a lot of trash, and that was when we first used the name Great Texas River Cleanup. For years after that, we kept the name, and we would try to make it to Gonzales. We would pretty much try to clean the San Marcos River, and a lot of years we could. We had a lot of canoe racers, of course, lots of people in San Marcos. Eventually, the cleanup in San Marcos itself became so big that I'd get the paddlers organized here at my place or at Martindale, either one, wherever we were located, and we'd get them going from usually City Park down, and then there were all these fraternities and sororities.
Right,
and
they discovered it for getting
they could get
their hours
the
of
merits
community service,
removed or
right?
what. So they weren't really there to have a major cleanup. They were there to pick up maybe a sack of trash, a little small mesh bag full of trash. I shouldn't say all this because some of them did.
They're not going to hear this.
Some of them worked hard, but it became such a major job to handle the San Marcos portion that when the city of San Marcos offered to do that, I said, oh yeah, go for it. So for the last, I would say at least 5 years, maybe longer, probably starting because we didn't have a cleanup in 2020. In fact,
yeah, I feel like it's been more than 5 years that they started that.
I think in 2020 during the pandemic, we had to clean up in early March, and it was before the site shut down. So we were the only cleanup that year, which I think we are still the only cleanup that's been contiguous since 1972. But lately I have decided to go back to starting my cleanups with the first San Marcos cleanup and just keeping that name, San Marcos River Cleanup. And I've let the city have the name Great Texas River Cleanup. And interesting enough, I think the ACA adopted the name Great American River Cleanup. So I think the name Great has spread around, so that's fine. But now the city, they'll have 500 or 600 volunteers.
Yeah, they have a huge group.
Feeding people breakfast and lunch.
And they've started doing more tributary cleanup as well, right? They don't just stick to the river itself.
Right. Oh, yeah. They clean up parks. They clean up roads. They clean up. They just need lots and lots of spots, hot spots.
Yeah.
And it's all computer-driven, AI, I'm sure. So it's a whole lot more high-tech than
what our attempts to just do the first 90 mile or 80 miles.
But in our case, we actually have paddlers that know what they're doing. Occasionally I'll have a group that wants to clean up on foot, and we have bridges like Highway 90 at Luling,
Yeah, some
We
of the
have plenty of-
bridges, you would fill up a whole group of canoes just at the bridge.
Right. So it helps having some foot traffic, but for the most part, we've got paddlers that know what they're doing in a canoe, so we can cover a lot of miles. I still think we're the longest cleanup in the state, or
I would
probably
imagine
anywhere.
so. I mean, it's a coordinated effort for sure between all the paddling clubs and everybody taking a section, and coordinating all the trash pickup is a big, huge thing.
And it's really gotten to the point that, like, groups like the Dallas Downriver Club have enough members that they really don't like opening their section up to novices
Everybody seems to have the same.
because one novice paddling couple can ruin your day. I mean, you end up spending the whole day taking care of your novices.
Right, trying to tell them how to paddle.
Yeah. But you get good paddlers, they can carry a refrigerator out in a canoe. So it's good to have as many talented boaters as we have. It's very rewarding. We get a lot of trash and big stuff, you know.
Now, when you worked for the university as the canoeing instructor, did you ever recruit your? I guess that would be pretty early in the semester, but did you ever get your students to help with the cleanup?
I would give them a free excuse, or they could miss the class by attending a cleanup. So we got a lot of student volunteers, and the neat thing was that really once people fall in love with the river, and a lot of students did, it was pretty easy to move to the next step, which was cleaning it up. So I find that unlike tubers, who don't seem to notice that they're on a river, people that canoe, for the most part, tend to be pretty good custodians. I mean, they clean up after themselves. So
Well, I think a big part of it too is if you get kids involved with any kind of cleanup, really, it helps kind of make them recognize that the trash that you leave behind, you know, is never going to go away. Somebody's going to have to come along and clean that up eventually. I mean, certainly when I was a kid, anytime anybody would throw something out, I would be so mad because I knew we're going to be cleaning that up. But
Yeah.
even for my kids, it totally, they'll ask me, why are people so trashy? Why are they doing this?
yeah, I think it makes a big difference. It's similar to taking a first aid class. You tend to be much more aware of, how fragile a body is, and I think people that tend to do first aid probably tend to hurt people less. So I think yeah, it really helps to have a group pick up trash out of the river, and they probably won't be littering themselves. So.
Yeah. All right. What was were there any really bizarre things that you can think of that were picked up out of the river along the years?
Well, the porta potties are always fascinating. Then you got to figure out how you're going to get those to the bridge and what you got to dump out of it. Some of the dolls we found have been scary. Nothing like a cleanup doll to kind of make you cringe a little bit. But it's always amazing how you can fill a 40-yard roll-off pretty easily every year, and that's just a real shame,
Yeah.
that's still happening. A lot of the problem is people trying to control erosion with garbage. I mean, they'll put tires and everything else in a creek bed that's eroding to try to stop the erosion. And of course, the floods just carry all that into the river. So it's a shame.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And it seems like most of obviously there's a bunch of cans and glass bottles that get pulled out, and a ton of flip-flops, things like that. But the things that take up the most room seem to be what people have just dumped. They take their mattress or their toilets,
Yeah.
and they don't want to throw them away because they don't want to do heavy trash. So they just go and they dump them at a bridge or directly into the river.
Yeah, tires are particularly problematic because they're so heavy and
Well,
when they're full of mud.
it didn't used to be a problem before they did away with the deposit. You know, when you had to pay, what was it, $2 per tire? And then you would get the $2 back when you returned them.
Right, yeah, that was a very good law.
Yeah.
Every time you bought a tire, you had to pay the recycling fee, and then, but there was a lot of abuse. People were claiming the $2 recycling recovery fee right and left for tires. Sometimes they'd claim it several times for the same tire.
Right.
So anyway, it was a mess.
But we did see a huge uptick in tires after that law was done away with.
Yeah. In fact, we have to be careful about. We need to pick up the pile of tires at Spitzer and Canoes quickly because the locals will add to it. We'll notice that suddenly the pile is doubled in size and the tires don't look like river tires.
And Green Guy still takes all the tires and or where did the tires go?
Fortunately, Guadalupe County has always taken the tires, not charged us a penny.
Okay.
So that's literally thousands of dollars, many thousands of dollars over the years that they've taken. I don't ask what they do with them, but some counties have figured out they can shred tires and make, asphalt with them or something. So, that was my chair.
Oh.
Anyway, they take the tires. The Green Guy still has to pay at least $2 a tire, so they really don't want them.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So nobody really wants
But
your
they take
tire.
all the heavy, like the metal and the...
We can definitely give them the steel, the aluminum, and there's a lot of steel.
The refrigerators, which
refrigerators.
are... Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Well, I can't think of anything else to ask you about the cleanup.
Cool. Well, March the 1st, Saturday.
All right.
Be there.
Thanks.